Hey guys, welcome back to Twisted Willow. Today we are planting some seeds in my kitchen. So I bought these little peat moss, they're kind of like a disc, and you're supposed to add water to them, and then they kind of like puff up, and they're a really good seed starting medium. So we're going to try those out today. So usually with these little discs, you would actually have them puff up inside the cells, but because I'm using such small cells for my seedlings, it won't fit, so I'm using a cookie sheet. And I have some seedling trays with some small cells, and they're pretty beat up. This will probably be their last use, but I believe in using something until it's done and getting your use out of it. So we're going to be using these today. So I'm going to finish adding water to these discs. I'm going to fill up the tray as well. I've got 100, so we'll do as many as we can fit in this tray, and then we're going to talk about some seeds that I bought for this year. So I've laid all my seed packets out. The ones on the right are the ones that I am going to direct sow in the garden. And so most of these I bought, the ones with the orange strip at the top, are organic seeds that I bought at my local hardware store. So this is a new brand for me, so we're going to try them out. So we're not going to be planting these in the seedling trays. I'm going to save that for another video where we go outside and we will direct sow these in my garden. But just for now, I thought we could go through and have a look. So at the very top, I have beets, I have shelling peas, I have two different varieties of carrots. And at the bottom here, I have some spinach, and in that bundle of spinach, I also have some kale. In behind that, we have broccoli, we have some Swiss chard. So that all does really well in the cool weather, and we'll be planting that outside. And these seeds on the left are what we're going to be planting in the seedling trays today. So a lot of these are left over from last year. All of these yellow envelopes, they're all hot peppers from peppers that I grew from starts last year. So I'm not sure if they're going to, how well they're going to produce, but I saved the seeds anyways, and we're going to give it a try. I bought some brand new cayenne pepper seeds this year, so we did have a cayenne pepper start last year that did quite well. We have two varieties of green cabbage. I had to buy some new green cabbage this year. And this is a leftover packet of red cabbage that I grew last year, and it did really well. So I'm excited to have more red cabbage. I like doing a braised red cabbage and canning it. And my Brussels sprouts, unfortunately, it got so cold so fast that we didn't get to harvest any, so I'm looking forward to that. This is an okra variety that grew quite well last year. And we've been experimenting with some loofah. So we got one loofah last year. I'm hoping to get more this year, so we're going to give it a try again. And this is a yellow onion that grew really, really well, and they store really well. I'm still using some of these onions from the garden last year, so we're going to be planting them again. And this is some leftover cauliflower seeds. I haven't had much luck with cauliflower, but we're going to be trying it again and hopefully have a much better experience this time. So I've put all the little peat moss discs in the cells. I had to do two more as I had two cells that were missing the soil. So I've managed to kind of squish all these in here. It was kind of hard because these things are just falling apart, but that's okay, they'll do. And now we're going to get to planting our seeds. So I'm going to start with Brussels sprouts. I always try to start with what has the longest uh, growing time. So Brussels sprouts, onions are a couple of those things that take a really long time. So I have a bowl here that I put some seeds in, and I put a little bit of water. I always like to soak my seeds so that I can start the germination process, and then I pour them out onto the paper towel. So we're just going to do that here, and that makes it a lot easier to pick them up. And we'll have to scrape the last ones out of here onto the paper towel so that we can pick them up. But I just realized that I forgot to finish making the holes. So I just use a popsicle stick or a stick or whatever I have around, and I just kind of make a little depression in the medium and just kind of wiggle it back and forth so that there's a big enough hole to place your seeds in. And make sure that it's not too deep. You want these to be relatively close to the surface so that those sprouts don't have too far to go. So we're going to be planting 12 cells of Brussels sprouts today. So these are all the seeds that I've scraped out of the bowl onto the paper towel. And I find it's just easier to use a pair of tweezers to pick up the seeds. And it may sound really tedious, but I find it really, really simple because these little guys are really sticky after being soaked. And it's almost impossible to just sprinkle them in with your fingers. And that's one. And that was pretty simple. I've done broadcasting, but I find that, picking out the stronger seedlings and having to transplant them, I find that to be far more tedious. So I went back to planting in cells like this, and if something doesn't come up in a cell, I can always put another seed in there and make the most out of my space. But I find just a little bit of work up front like this will save me a lot more work than to broadcast these in seedling trays. Next up is our okra. So I've placed some okra seeds in the bowl, and I'm just going to add maybe a couple tablespoons of water. It really doesn't take much, and we're just going to leave it to soak for a few minutes. I found that soaking these has been really positive, has given me a much better germination rate. And so we're going to plant these in these 6 cells right here. So what's in this bowl is actually from the yellow envelope here. And those are seeds that I saved from my okra last year. And they're the same variety, but I wanted to see if they would be able to reproduce, that I'd be able to start some new seedlings from the seed that I saved last year. So somehow I have lost my footage of me planting the okra. So I will have another video where I provide an update and a look at the final planting of the entire seedling tray. So just hang tight for that. For now, we're going to work on some celery seeds. So I have a bowl, I've added my water. These are some celery seeds that I got from a local seed company that sells a lot of heirloom and organic seeds. So I'm just going to shake some seeds into the water. These are super fine, but that's okay. Using the tweezers, they'll be really easy. Just like the Brussels sprouts that we planted, we're going to do this exactly the same way. So I got some popsicle sticks here, and I've just written celery on them just so that I don't forget what I've planted where. And we're just going to place one of these in each of the cell trays. And we've let our celery seeds soak for a few minutes, so we're going to do the same as what we did earlier. I use a plate for the paper towel just so that it doesn't soak through and make such a mess. It's easy to just wash the plate after. So I'm going to dump the celery seeds out so that they're easy to see, and then I'm going to take my tweezers and I'm going to pick up each seed one at a time and place them in their cell. So again, I've already made the holes for this side, and I'm going to go ahead and plant a seed in each of the cells. These ones are really tricky to get off the tweezers, but still much easier than trying to do this with my fingers. As I'm editing this video, these cells look absolutely horrendous. I've used these peat moss pucks before and they've been fine, but these ones have like an outer lining that's encasing the peat moss, and they just kind of busted open wherever, and they kind of look a little bit sloppy, and I don't know, I'm not too happy with them. I'm not sure that I would actually use these again. My hardware store had them for 12 cents each, and I thought, since I'm doing this on my kitchen counter, I wanted something that was going to be a lot cleaner than having a bag of potting soil, or some other type of growing medium, neck, like in my kitchen open. So, as messy as it might be, I think I would have rather gone with the soil. And why am I doing this in my kitchen? Because we have an unusually cool spring and it's incredibly windy outside, so I can't exactly do this outside. I do have a greenhouse. Well, I did have a greenhouse that I put up last year, and our unusually heavy snowfall actually collapsed the greenhouse. So I don't have a greenhouse. I can't work outside, so that left me having to do this inside this year. I'm just happy that I did have the space. I have a huge island, and it's been a really great space to be able to lay out all of my things and be able to work in here. So I'm just making do with what I have. And if you don't have a greenhouse and if you can't work outside, if you can clean a small space in your house to do this, then just do it, and you can always clean up later. So next up, we are going to be planting some onions. This is a new variety, and I got this as well from the same company as the celery, and I'm really excited to try it. It's supposed to be a good storage onion, which is important because I like to store as much as I can so that it doesn't require all the extra energy of preservation, because I preserve so many things. It's just nice not to have to deal with it. I really like the packaging. That's what I'm trying to show here, is that every detail that was on the website, they've also put it right on the seed packet. So it'll be really great if I want to reorder these next year. And I really like the little sleeve that actually holds the seed on the inside. It makes it super easy to save the packaging. So I'm going to do about a third of the seeds that came in this package, as I already have kind of a yellow onion that I'm going to grow, and that'll save me lots of extra seeds that I can use again next year if I like this variety. And just like the other seeds that we've planted here today, we are going to soak these in water as well, but the way we plant them is going to be a little bit different. So just hang on for that. I'm going to do another video for that. And thanks for following along today, and I'll see you next time.